Alright, what's up everybody? It's CSNazo, and welcome to my Money in the Bank 2017 review. And, this was actually a really good show. Seriously, this is a great show. Uh, just let me, get a little comfortable here. Let's just get right into it. I missed the first half hour because, I actually, ordered a pizza to eat while I was watching this, and I forgot that I had ordered it in advance, and I'm like, oh crap. So as a result, I missed the first half hour of the show to go get my pizza, and also to uh, do a little celebrating with my father for Father's Day. But I came back in time to see the Colognes versus the Hype Brothers, and um, this was a solid match. Like, nothing spectacular. I wish I would stop accidentally touching the mic. My beard has gotten so thick at this point I can't stop stroking. I just can't stop doing the whole beard stroking thing. Um, Shortly after the match began, a woo 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 chant started, which, again, after not hearing it for so long, thanks to the uh, Rise Above Hate storyline they did prior to WrestleMania 28. And one thing the WWE loves shoving home about Mojo Rawley is that he used to play football. They will shove that down your throat as much as they possibly can. Um, it's actually been like what? It's been like I want to say like 16 hours since I've seen this pay per view. But I have this note here. Nice heel tactic, and I think what happened, if I'm remembering correctly, was one of the Colognes grabbed Zack Ryder's injured leg and just kind of held it in place as he was getting back in the ring, and then the other one did like a drop kick to actually hit it, and I'm like, wow, that actually looked really painful. And then I got kind of angry because I know this is the pre-show, but why are you This is the pre-show. It's on YouTube and the WWE Network. It's not on television. Why are you interrupting a match for a commercial? Why? But yeah, one thing I will actually say about Zack Ryder in this match is that he did a good job selling the whole injured leg thing. Like, I'm sure it's I mean, like, I'm sure his injured leg wasn't that bad during the match, but man, like the way he was just twisting and turning it, like it legit looked injured. Like, I mean, it didn't look like freaking Lex Luger broke his freaking leg, but like he was moving it like the leg should not move like that. Um, there was one point in the match where I actually legitimately thought it was over. Apparently, I don't remember that. And then after Ryder and Mojo hit their tag team finish, Ryder pins Primo, and that's the end of the match. A good return for Zack Ryder and the Hype Brothers. Again, nothing spectacular, but you know, solid match. And then I just have this note. I don't remember exactly what was going on. I just have this note here where I'm imitating Vince's voice. Great Balls of Fire isn't a stupid name for a pay-per-view, goddammit! So, yeah, because they they keep shoving down our throats. Like, oh, the next Raw pay-per-view is Great Balls of Fire, Great Balls of Fire, Great Balls of Fire. This seems to be WWE's mentality towards something they think we would like, and we instead don't like it. It's just like, oh, just shove it down their throats and eventually they'll like it. That's not how it works, WWE. That just isn't how it works. Like you've been working with this for God knows how long now. How have you not figured out that if your fans don't like something, stop shoving it down their throats? I went off on that tangent by the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view name in and of itself. God. Anyway, the pay-per-view starts, and it opens up with the first ever women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Before I get into reading the notes for this match, let me just say that this, up until the very end, was a very, very good match. Like, seriously, if you have not seen this match, go to the WWE Network, watch this match. But once James Ellsworth gets in the ring, you might want to stop watching. Like, everything up to there was great. Alright, now to get into the notes. The match starts off, and all the women leave the ring to get their own ladder. And as they start getting back in the ring, Tamina just like, fucking destroys people. Like, Jesus, Tamina, calm down. Like, god damn. But eventually, Tamina does get, I guess, taken out. You know, the part of the Money in the Bank ladder matches when, like, people are just kind of outside the ring and they're just kind of laying out there resting. You know, like that happened to Tamina. And there was this one spot where Natalya and Becky pick up the same ladder, and they're just shouting at each other, "Give it to me! Give it to me! Give it to me! Give it to me!" And then, like, Tamina gets back up, starts walking towards them. They both hit Tamina with the ladder, and they go right back to arguing with each other. I'm sorry. I mean, that is something that I legitimately like. Like, let's just stop arguing for 5 seconds. I mean, like, that these two women can stop fighting each other for 5 seconds. They can put aside their vehement hatred for each other for 5 seconds to just attack this, I mean, one of their other opponents, and then they go right back to fighting. I'm sorry, I like that. Oh man, I wish I could remember the spot because I have this note here that says "good bit with Carmella and Charlotte," and I also have a note here that says somebody swore because the audio just went out for like just a little tiny bit, and WWE usually uh, do that when somebody swears by accident. Anyway, uh, Natalia and I think Becky get back in the ring. Uh, and Becky goes to attack Natalia, but Natalia sees it coming, counters it into a sharpshooter, and that just leaves me with this note: this isn't going to help you, Natalia. But eventually, I guess, I think she actually gets like hit or something, and she just lets go, and it's just like Charlotte and Natalia in the ring again. And when Charlotte sees Natalia, she just looks at Natalia and goes, "You." I love that. I just love that little bit, like, "you," and then she goes on the offensive against her. Like, I I really like that. That is a really great. I mean, okay. I didn't know that there was supposed to be a rivalry between these two, but that is a really good way for someone, even who is unfamiliar with the product, to show that these two have a very serious rivalry. Like just that one little line, "you," and Charlotte didn't. I mean, something tells me Charlotte didn't have to put it in. Okay, like, I mean, anyone who has any kind of knowledge on professional wrestling knows. Okay, Charlotte Flair is the daughter of Ric Flair. Natalia is the niece, I think, of Bret Hart, and you can kind of see that there's a bit of a rivalry there already. But just that, I mean, Charlotte didn't have to throw in that little detail to make it better, but she did. She's like, you, and that just made it all the better. Anyway, after that, the next note basically refers to Charlotte's high spot in the match, where she does this. It's not a moonsault. I feel like an idiot because I feel like I should know the name of that move. My next note is nice power bomb by Becky, and I believe that was to Natalia. This this just goes to show how little detail I I remember most wrestling matches in. Maybe that's normal, but I don't know. I just write down notes, so I'm like, okay, might want to bring up this spot, might want to bring up this spot, might want to bring up this spot. And then here comes the bad part. Becky Lynch is climbing the ladder when James Ellsworth, of all people, pulls her down. And no, wait. He tips the ladder over, knocking Bayley to the outside. And James Ellsworth is just alone in the ring. And I have this note here that reads, Ellsworth, you haven't been relevant in months. And then there's the ladder just set up in the ring right under the briefcase. Ellsworth is looking up at the women's Money in the Bank briefcase. And I think, but you might be soon. Not realizing that they were serious. I mean, it's like TN in Team 4 Stars Dragon Ball Z Abridged. I mean when he hears that uh, the planet has been destroyed, he's just like, right, nice joke. Oh God, you're serious. And then the second he starts climbing, I'm just like, there is no way that this is actually going to happen. Not in the first women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Not in the first one. And then he's up there, and he's holding onto the briefcase for like 5 seconds, and I go, they're serious. Oh no, they're serious. And what do you know? James Ellsworth unhooks the briefcase and drops it to Carmella. And the bell rings. Which leads me to this note. What the fuck? And the next couple notes is just me just angrily confused about the finish to this match. See, here's the thing about this ending, though. Well, actually, here's the thing about this match in general. This match was great. This match was really, really good. Overall, this... Seriously, go watch this match. In fact, I will be perfectly honest with you. I would have been 100% okay with this finish if it weren't for the fact that this was the first ever women's Money in the Bank ladder match. And they go on and on about how this is a landmark in women's sports and women's athletics, that they're finally getting their own Money in the Bank ladder match, and it was won by a man. God. If this were the second women's Money in the Bank ladder match, I wouldn't have cared. Heck, I'll do you one better. I would have applauded it. I would have been like, yeah, this is awesome. But the fact that it's the first one, if they had waited until next year to do that, I would have been all for it. But no, they had to do that because fuck you. Anyway, I remember after this I kind of left for a bit to go refill on the refreshments. But the New Day come out to the ring, and during their entrance, I hear Xavier Woods. I hear they're doing this promo about how the Usos call the SmackDown Tag Team, the SmackDown Tag Team division, the state penitentiary. And the New Day say, well, when we become the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the SmackDown Tag Team Division will become the New Day's playpen. And he makes a reference about, he basically says that this playpen will always be clean, so there will be no worrying about dropping the soap. To which all I can think is, dude, this is TVPG, Xavier. What the fuck? You just made a prison rape joke on a PG wrestling product. What the hell, Xavier? What? Anyway, I don't have a lot of notes for this match, but it was still a good match. It was still a really good match. I don't usually rate matches. I don't plan to make it a point to like rate matches on this I'm on this show on YouTube. But I guess that's just something I'm going to do to describe a match if I don't have a lot to say about it. Because the thing is that this is a good match, but other than like the three notes I have for it, I don't have anything. There's not much to say about it. It's an 8 out of 10 match. I rate it. I rate it 8 out of 10. There was one bit where one of the Usos goes to suicide dive Big E, but instead Big E actually catches him as he's diving through the ropes and does a belly to belly exploder suplex out of there. And I'm like, that was awesome. That was just awesome right there. And then I believe it was Kofi who put the commentators called him Jimmy Uso. So I'm just gonna take their word for it because I've been a wrestling fan for 6 years and I still can't tell the two Usos apart. Um, and Jimmy is just selling the hell out of this submission move. Like, I mean, it kind of looked like dude was on death row and he just and he was being killed in the electric chair. Just like, he was freaking the hell out, man. Like, and there's a part of me that always likes overselling in wrestlers. I just find overselling just freaking hilarious. Oh man, I got bit by a mosquito last night. Whatever. And there was also a spot where the Usos were right about to win the match, but then Xavier Woods gets up on the apron, starts doing this little song on the trombone. One of whichever Usos in the ring uh, goes after him, and I actually really like that. Where like the distraction comes from him just innocently singing a song and not doing anything else. Like not like trash talking. It's just like I'm just gonna get up on the apron and just sing a little song. Is that a second mosquito bite? And yes, I'm leaving this in. I think it is. Dang it! I'll get the lemon juice later. Anyway, the match ends with the Usos basically giving up and then just leaving the ring, grabbing their titles, and leaving the arena through the crowd. That's all I can really say on that. Next, we have Naomi versus Lana. And the champion comes out first. This is something that I don't think that, from what I understand, not a lot of people see as being that big a deal anymore. But I'm sorry, I'm with Little Karibo on this. The champion should always come out last. In fact, according to the more recent WWE games, that's not how it should be at all. The champion should always come out first. Which, no. And that seems to be WWE's mentality when it comes to the entrance. The team that comes out last is usually the team the WWE wants you to like more, no matter what. No matter what. the last guy to come out is the guy who the WWE wants you to like more. Anyway, I don't have a lot to say about this match other than it's okay. It wasn't terrible. As for Lana, she was okay. She wasn't terrible. That's that's just all I can say on it. Um, Carmella did come out and teased cashing in Money in the Bank, but at the end of the day, she didn't really do it. So, moving on to the next thing. There was another cop drama parody by the Fashion Police tonight, and tonight, no, last night, and I think I could just watch these all day. I think I want an actual crime drama featuring Fandango and Tyler Breeze as the Fashion Police. Just like one episode. Just like one 40-minute episode. Because I assume that's how long most cop dramas are when you take commercials into consideration. And they called it Fashion Vice. And I really, really like the board. I was just like all the clues they have, including the stick figures from the last episode of SmackDown. They had that on there. And Tyler is so freaking paranoid about getting attacked. He is always on guard. He is always on guard because the phone rings and he just pulls out a water pistol, like a water pistol from like Dollar Frickin' General or some kind of dollar store. And like he's just he's waving it around. Oh god. All right, on to the next page. For whatever basically they play a video showing a tag team basically like oh, you guys really want to know who's been attacking you all this time and trashing your office? Like come down to the ring later tonight and we'll show you ourselves. And for whatever reason, I assumed it was the Revival. I don't know why. Maybe it was because they haven't been on Raw for a bit. Although I think that's because like I think one of the members of the Revival is injured. And plus, do we really need to have both the Revival and the Hardys on Raw? Do we really need to have the both of them on Raw? I mean, like both of those tag teams? No. Raw's tag team division is actually looking pretty good right now, in my opinion. They don't need the Revival, but I think SmackDown does. Don't get me wrong, SmackDown's tag team division is good, but I think putting the Revival over on SmackDown would just kind of make the two tag team divisions even in terms of overall quality. Anyway, then Kurt Hawkins and Maria come out, and apparently, Maria and Kurt Hawkins got married. Like, I'm not sure if this is like a real life thing that's happened, or if it's just a storyline thing. But okay, former WWE wrestler Maria is returning to the SmackDown's women division, so okay, cool. That's really all I had to say on it. It's like, all right, I'll give. I haven't seen her wrestle, but I'll give her a shot. Why not? And there is one thing I really like about this dynamic between Kurt Hawkins and Maria, and that's that they are so. It's just their overacting. Their overacting is just amazing. I can't. God. I want to say I love it, but that's kind of the wrong word, and I don't want to do a pun. Although I think I already did, so. But yeah, if they keep that up, then I approve. Yeah, and commentary is just confused by this segment when it's over. Anyway, after that we have Jinder Mahal versus Randy Orton, and the champion comes out again. Okay, I understand. Not a lot of people believe in Jinder Mahal as champion yet. But you could help cement. You could easily help cement this by having him come out last. Come on. Although I guess it kind of makes sense that Randy would come out last this time around, considering they're in St. Louis. But anyway, Orton begins the show coming out just guns a blazing, very dominant for like the first few minutes of the match. And then I have this note that reads, "Gotta leave for a bit, need a fan." This is because, at least in the room where I was, it was very hot. I mean, I know there are like other parts of even America that are hotter than my room was right then, but I'm just like, no, no, I've been sitting here for like 2 hours now. It's really hot. I need to get a fan. So I stopped paying full attention to this match so I could get a fan, clean it off because we haven't used it since last year, and just turn it on. But eventually, I got back, and the next note I have after coming back to the match is that the Singh brothers. I'm actually this is it Singh or Singh? I don't know. All I know is that I called them the Bollywood Boys in my SmackDown review, and I apologize for that because I probably sound like a colossal leader. The Bollywood Boys? Those aren't the Bollywood Boys. Although then again, I didn't watch 205 Live, so maybe they were formally called the Bollywood Boys. I don't know. I just kind of, I'm just like, okay, these are two presumably Indian guys because they're being managed. I mean, they're part of this whole Indian pride gimmick. So I assume they're Indian. They're a tag team. They look small enough to be cruiserweights, and 205 Live had an Indian tag team called the Bollywood Boys. So I'm like, okay, those are the Bollywood Boys. And they might not be, and if that's not the case, I apologize. I deeply apologize for my racism. But they get ejected. However, before they leave ringside, they just they they see Randy Orton's father, who is in attendance, and at first they're just gonna walk away. But then they go back to him. They approach him, and one of them grabs him by the shirt. The other one doesn't grab anything. He just kind of puts his fist on his chest. And I have to wonder why that guy was so afraid to like grab his clothes, because Bob Orton is a former professional wrestler. This isn't a serious bump or anything. Dude's in on the act. You had to have told Bob Orton that this was going to happen. So why not just grab his shirt? I mean, obviously the dude was okay with it. Just grab his shirt, but instead, like, no, I'm just gonna put my fist on his chest. I'm sorry, that was just one detail that just. I'm sorry, that was just one detail that just drove me nuts. One little nitpick. And then, so Randy Orton goes out, beats up the Singh brothers, basically knocks them out because they're attacking his father on Father's Day. And no, you can't do that at all. Jinder hits his finisher on Randy Orton. 1, 2, 3. Jinder wins and defends the title. I'm actually very happy with that because Jinder's actually proving himself to be a decent wrestler here. Like, yeah. I mean, yeah, let's keep this WWE World Champion run going because I think something good could come out of it. Let's give it a proper shot. So then the Fashion Police come down to the ring, but By the way, how is it that you could have a tag team whose gimmick is, "Oh, we're so pretty, we're so good looking, oh my god," and I mean, how can you have a wrestling tag team with that gimmick be faces, good guys, not bad guys, and have it work? Like, I like this tag team. I'm not gonna lie, I really like this tag team. I think they're hilarious, and I kind of knew this shortly after the Fashion Vice segment ended because I mean mainly because I was watching like Steven Larson's like live reactions to it, and like in the chat there was like all these people saying it's the Ascension, it's the Ascension, it's the Ascension. So I'm like, yeah, it's probably the Ascension. If it's not the Revival, it's probably the Ascension, and it's more likely the Ascension because the Ascension are still a SmackDown tag team. And yeah, it was the Ascension. Uh, okay. So we have a match between the Fashion Police and the Ascension. I have this note here that reads, "Nice spine buster." I think it was from Connor to I don't know. all, all I remember is that Connor did a impressive spine buster. I have very little to say on this match. It was an okay match. It wasn't anything offensive, but I wouldn't say go out of your way to watch it. One thing I found very weird is that, considering this is like the Ascension's return match, I mean them returning to the SmackDown Tag Team division, you'd think that they'd win, just so they'd have, I mean, just so there'd be like this little tiny bit of like, yeah, these guys can still go in the ring. They're not a joke. But nope, the Fashion Police win, and I mean, my note specifically says, "Wait, the Fashion Police win? I'm happy, but why?" And that's true because no joke, I want to see the Fashion Police be one of the best teams on SmackDown. I want them contending for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, and as a result, they need to get a lot of wins to do that. I mean, to prove that they're a good tag team, but, well, good tag team? No, I mean that they're a threat. But I'm sorry, I just feel like the Ascension should have won this one, so they would have had some bite to them when they made their next. I mean, for like the next few, for the next few matches they have on SmackDown. And we have another ad for Great Balls of Fire, and this is when I wrote the note. We get it, Vince. You like the name Great Balls of Fire because WWE will not stop talking about the fact that they have a pay-per-view called Great Balls of Fire. They will not stop talking about it. Great Balls of Fire has gotten more attention than Money in the Bank in the last week, which is stupid because Money in the Bank features an historic moment that prior to Extreme Rules, the WWE wouldn't shut up about. Actually, I have no. They're claiming it's another historic event, and yet I'm like, oh yeah. There's gonna be this women's Money in the Bank ladder match, the first of its kind for women's sports entertainment. But you don't want to hear about that. Great Balls of Fire! We have a pay-per-view called Great Balls of Fire! I'm just tired of them shoving that pay-per-view name down our throat. I'm tired of hearing it. It's not a good name for a pay-per-view, and from what I've heard, the original I mean, from what I heard, it was originally going to be Bad Blood. Why didn't they just go with that? Anyway, time for the main event of the night, and I have more than a full page of notes here. Oh boy. This was my favorite match of the night, guys. Like 10 out of 10 perfect. If you haven't seen it, stop this video, go watch that match, come back, apologize to me. Do it in the comments. But yeah, let's just get to the notes. Um, Corbin going crazy. I unfortunately don't remember that. It's funny. I just got done saying how much I love this match, and I can't remember every single detail of it. But I think that's just how wrestling is. You remember certain moments more than you remember the entire match. But I do kind of remember this one bit where like in the beginning, Sammy and Kevin are fighting, and all I can think is fight forever because they actually put on a couple good they actually put on a couple good matches when they were on Raw fighting up against each other. Um, I have this note that reads, "Nice spot between Styles and Ziggler," even though I can't remember that spot. And this spot, however, I do remember. This note reads, "Drop toe hold from Styles to Owens." Basically, what happens is that Owens is just wrecking everyone with a ladder, and he's holding the ladder over his head, and he's about to hit AJ with it when AJ does a drop toe hold, causing Kevin to fall over, and he lands head first on the ladder that he's carrying. Just wow. I don't think I've ever seen that. I have this. Wait, no, no, that's for later. Nice spot between Sammy and Owens. I have a note right after it that reads, "Sammy threw Owens into a ladder." I remember there's being something very specific about this throw that I like. I wish I could remember the spot because I literally wrote two separate notes for it describing it. I wish I could remember it. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm terrible at this, but I'm gonna keep going because maybe I'll get better with time. Anyway, I believe it was Sami Zayn and Baron Corbin climbing the ladder, but Corbin was taking his sweet ass time climbing the ladder. And then Ziggler starts climbing the ladder on the same side Corbin's on. And Ziggler actually climbs over Corbin to get there, and then he switches to the other side. No, does he switch to the other side? I remember he did that at one point. And then he does a zigzag to someone, I wish I can remember who, off the ladder. Oh, fuck, how could I forget this? Oh, yeah. How could I forget this? Baron Corbin attacks Shinsuke Nakamura before the match, meaning Nakamura is out of the match. Is out of the match for most of it. Oh my god, I feel like such an idiot. How could I forget that? That's the first thing that happened. Oh my god, how could I forget that? I am so sorry, guys. Um, the next note I have here is Sammy with a sunset flip off the ladder. I don't remember who he did it to, but oh my god, that was glorious watching. Uh, and then I have Sammy with a suplex to Owens on the apron, which um I mean, considering the fact that they've basically built up Kevin Owens' powerbomb to the apron as being like a potential career-ending move, I feel like the suplex to the apron is basically going to be Sammy's equivalent to that. Like, holy crap! I mean, which is why I mean, like a year ago, I would have looked at that and I wouldn't have thought anything of it. But now that Kevin Owens has built up the ring apron as a dangerous part of the ring, dear lord. So anyway, Sammy starts climbing a ladder, and as he's climbing up, AJ Styles springboards off the ropes and gives him a phenomenal forearm as he's climbing the ladder, and Sammy falls off. That, my friends, that was amazing. Where is the cord for this headset? There it is. Sorry, sometimes the cord of the headset gets caught between the parts of my swivel chair. Anyway, um, I have a note here that reads Haluva kick out of nowhere. I literally don't remember that. I also have this note that reads dig kick, and I do remember there being a dig kick in the match, but I don't remember who did it, and I don't remember who to. So, forgive me for that. My next note reads Fireman's carry from Styles to Owens onto the ladder, which that was a nice spot. There are a lot of good spots in this match. Maybe I really need to pay more attention to the other wrestling podcasts I listen to because this is just a travesty here. I like. Anyway, Styles then starts climbing the ladder to grab the briefcase. He's holding on. He actually grabs the briefcase. And then Ziggler comes in and pulls the ladder away, and Styles is hanging there from the briefcase. And I'm like, is this going to be it or what? And no, AJ Styles just kind of falls down. And Ziggler didn't do anything about it. He's just kind of sitting there in the corner. No, no, no. Actually, I don't think he said anything. I think he just stood there and watched Styles hang there for like 45 seconds before falling down. Excuse me, I had to sneeze. Apparently, I don't have to sneeze. And then Baron Corbin uh, takes out Ziggler, I guess, with something. He sets up the ladder. He starts to climb it. When all of a sudden, Nakamura's music hits, and here he comes down the ramp. Uh, and Nakamura just goes friggin' ape. Oh yeah, Baron Corbin actually picks up the ladder he was climbing, and he goes to throw it at. Sorry about that, my headset fell off. He goes to throw it at Shinsuke Nakamura, who is outside the ring. Shinsuke runs under the ladder into the ring and just goes crazy on everybody. Kinshasa to Owens. And for some reason, that's the only note I have before this bit between Styles and Nakamura. Yes, they have a bit together. Like, I mean, my note literally just says, "Oh my, Styles and Nakamura, here we go." Yeah, I mean, like, and this was just great. I mean, I haven't. I mean, my next note reads, "Yeah, just let Styles and Nakamura go at it by themselves for a bit," and that. I mean, that may sound like a comment I make with complete sarcasm, but it's really not. It's really not. I was completely serious. But anyway, Baron Corbin breaks up the fight, climbs the ladder, and actually wins Money in the Bank. Now, I can see a lot of people having problems with this, especially because I haven't heard any negativity towards Baron Corbin, but I haven't heard a lot of positivity towards him either. I think most fans are just kind of neutral on Corbin. And yeah, I will fully admit, I would have rather seen Ziggler win or Sammy win because Ziggler deserves to be in the main event, but every time he gets that main event push, something stupid happens, and they're like, nah, never mind. And Sammy deserves to be in the main event. We all know this, but they're putting it off for some stupid reason. However, I mean, it seems like ever since Corbin came up to the main roster, they wanted Corbin to be a main event guy on SmackDown. And that has actually caused a lot of interest. Has actually caused me to be kind of interested in Baron Corbin because I'm always interested in these guys that I mean I don't know like most I'm always interested in these guys that most fans are just kind of neutral on. They start getting a main event push, and then that push lasts for only a few months. Bear, I mean, like That's the kind. I have the same interest in Baron Corbin that I have in with Jack Swagger, where like I can tell this guy's supposed to be a main event guy, but for some reason the company just isn't taking him serious enough to be a main eventer, despite the fact that they're pushing him as that. So him winning Money in the Bank, I'm sorry, I'm actually very all right with that. I like that, and I'm actually very curious to see where they go with this. So with that being said, that is everything. That is everything for Money in the Bank. You know what? In the first two videos, I think I had like a bunch of like screenshots of the matches. I unfortunately do not have that this time around. I think I've just decided to put up just like my Mewtwo picture and a picture of the logo. That is assuming the editing me is. I mean, the me doing the editing just decided to do that. But I'm sorry, guys. I had been working all weekend. I did way too much procrastinating before I got to recording this, and I wanted to be out before Raw. And I'm sorry, guys. I'm just tired. There is, I mean, as much as I love making YouTube content, there is a part of me that sees it purely as work, while there's another part of me that actually really enjoys it. Yeah, so I'm sorry, I'm going a little bit lazier here on this episode, even though it's my first pay per view review, but I'm sorry, guys. Forgive me. But anyway, thank you guys so much for listening, and I will be back tomorrow, maybe, with Raw. I don't know. I really didn't like last week's episode of Raw. I really didn't, and I'm not looking forward to this one because of the quality of the last episode. Oh dear lord. Oh, maybe this was a bad idea. Maybe making this a regular series was a bad idea. I don't know, but I'll be getting a new capture card soon so I can start recording Let's Plays. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. I'll see you guys maybe tomorrow for Raw, or maybe I'll just be like, you know what? No, I'm only reviewing SmackDown, and that's it. I don't know. I'm sorry, guys. Anyway, I'll see you later.